This episode is brought to you by StretchLab of Westfield. StretchLab offers one-on-one assisted stretching for people of all ages. Whether you're looking to improve your athletic performance or trying to stay limber as you age, StretchLab has a highly trained staff ready to help you reach all of your goals. Mention That Westfield Podcast and get your first stretch for only $40. Visit stretchlab.com to learn more. Welcome back to this episode of That Westfield Podcast. Today we are joined by Steve Murray of Mania Fitness. What's up, Steve?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, dude, this is a good one because I think we all need a little learning about some personal training and fitness and all that jazz. Yeah. Plus, I like your shirt.
Yeah, you like the logo?
Yeah,
it's like sporty, cool.
I have a T-shirt for you.
Oh,
if you
sweet.
want to swap. So
and I brought one for you as well.
No, you.
Lies.
All the lies.
No, I do. I'll get you one. I'll get you one.
I feel like I need to earn that shirt a little bit though, so I feel like I might be a phony, but you've earned this one by being on the show.
Great.
It's like a special thing. I don't think a lot of people know that. You only get the shirt if you've been on the show.
No, I did not know that, but...
I don't know if I have your size though. You look a little bit bigger than a medium.
I'm a medium.
Yeah, medium?
Yeah.
All right, we'll stretch it out. You could go sleeveless or maybe in a tank.
All right, great.
Anyway, let's learn about some physical fitness now. So tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been training people for, what it is that you do that's special, and why we should all like you, Steve.
So I grew up in a very large family. I always give people an opportunity to guess how many siblings I have. So what's your best guess?
7.
That's way too low.
10?
You got to go up a little bit.
Very Irish.
Yeah, Irish Catholic family.
Right?
Yep.
12.
12, yeah. So
you're one of 13.
I'm one of 12. So I have 11 siblings.
Okay, wow. That's all.
Yeah, so big family, no twins.
Where do you fall?
I'm 4th from the top.
Okay, all right. Still a leader. I'll give it to you.
Therapists have a tough time with me. They're like, you're a middle child, kind of. Yeah. So,
so funny.
So I was very active growing up, with siblings, backyard, all day long, playing sports with the neighborhood kids, loved basketball. And I loved, like from a young age, I remember like practicing skills for basketball and then immediately seeing like my performance enhance on the court. So I like gravitated towards that like practice and that workout, if you will. Right. And then I remember in 8th grade, my dad bought a Bowflex. You remember Bowflexes?
We had one in our attic that no one ever used.
And I think I was the only sibling to like actually use it.
That's so funny.
Like the whole pamphlet, like all the pictures, I did every exercise on that thing. And I like saw results on it. Like the tension like wore off after a couple months. And like,
so funny.
Like I just immediately saw like, then I was on to like, pull-ups and push-ups and anything I could kind of do because I immediately found that like, my confidence was better after workouts.
Totally.
My anxiety was lower. It was a great momentum builder for me. And even like, something after the workout, I was even less susceptible towards like unwanted impulses. So it kind of gave me this like control for the day and kind of set the table literally and figuratively, if you will, for like the rest of my day. And I always like knew, I was like, all right, this is something I'm passionate about. This is something I like. And another passion of mine is people. Like I love characters. I just love different people. I always have. Like I was the kid. Do you remember the New Jersey paper, the Star Ledger?
Of course.
Yeah. So the first thing I would read in the Star Ledger was the sports section, but it would be the section of like an individual athlete, and it would be like, what's your favorite food? And I'd be like, oh my God, they like avocados. And like, what's their favorite movie? For some reason, I like love that.
That's so funny.
So I just like people. And long story short, I got a degree in psychology from Montclair State.
Go Redhawks.
Yeah, Redhawks. Did you go there?
Yeah. Philosophy. Though.
Let's go. All right, cool.
No one cares. We're not that cool. Because state schools are just fine, people. They're fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I started with an exercise science major at Morris County College, where I played basketball too. Cool. And then I was not one of those kids who was like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be an accountant. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I was working a lot through school as well. And then I switched to business at Montclair because I was like, you can't go wrong.
Same. I was also a business major originally too.
Exactly.
Don't
we all
know
were.
anything about business, but you learned a lot more about it in philosophy and psychology, right?
Yes. So I remember by the time like I was getting towards the end of graduation, my advisor was like, hey, I mean, you have so many credits in psychology because I just liked it. She's like, you might as well graduate with that and you'll be quicker to graduate. I was like, all right, cool. So now I tell people I do all three. It's like exercise science, the business and the psychology. And then I had a couple odd jobs here and there trying to get my path started as a career. And I remember when I decided to become a personal trainer, it was a very conscious decision. It was like I was dating my now wife at the time, and we were getting more serious. And I was like, I need to get my act together. Like, I need to pick something. Right. And, I've had friends tell me, like, you should be a personal trainer. Like, you would crush it. And I kind of just like went all in on it and like got a job at Lifetime in Berkeley Heights. I had a great manager there. Shout out to Chris Trufa. Worked alongside some excellent trainers. And I remember like really, really applying myself. Like, I'm still a student of the game, read a lot of books, listened to a ton of podcasts. And I was exposed at Lifetime to so many different types of individuals with different goals, different injuries, different workout pasts. So I would train anyone from, a 16-year-old athlete to a 75-year-old citizen to like a working parent. So it was a ton of good exposure. So I accelerated well there. Like, I learned so much. And I just remember like my first year, I probably saw like 10 or 20 other personal trainers get hired there. And then I saw the same amount, more people leave within that same year. Right. So I just remember being like, whatever, they try another job or they go on to get like a real job, whatever that means, or it just wasn't for them. Because like anyone can become a trainer. Right. You just need a certificate. And I just remember being like, if I just like stick this thing out, like I could crush this. Right. So I was there for 5 years, and then COVID hit. And, in the back of my mind throughout those 5 years, I always knew I wanted to start my own business someday or have my own shop. I just didn't know how that looked yet. And when COVID hit, I was just training a ton of people virtually, FaceTime sessions, going to people's homes, and then a lot of like online stuff. And it sort of grew like organically, meaning like I would train someone in their garage and they'd be like, hey, can you train like my wife? And I'd be like, yeah. And then and then my neighbor. And then like it kind of stemmed from there, like a lot of word of mouth. And like I remember like a couple weeks had gone by and I was like, I'm kind of running my own business right now.
Just fell into it.
Yeah. So then I just made it official. And when all the gyms opened back up, I was on my own, started my LLC, and I've been doing that for 4 years now. And it's been going great.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think one thing that people don't think about when it comes to trainers, it's like I said, it's kind of like a dime a dozen. But when you actually work with a person who actually understands human development and behavior and does have a strong psychology background, it makes all the difference, because you're not just showing somebody how to do a workout. Like, some people, that's all they want. But if you're someone who actually wants to be a better person, who wants to grow mentally, physically, and in every aspect of your life, whether it's being a better father, a better husband, a better person, like whatever it is, like, of course, like that's a person I would want to hire versus someone who could just show you the movements, because there's no motivation behind that. It's just doing the flow of whatever, so your muscles can grow. But I think science has proven time and time again that there's such a connection between like how you feel about what you're doing and actually doing it. So
the psychology trumps the programming. I think that was Goose Stale that said that. And it's so true. Like, your willingness to do the program or the workout is so much more important than the X's and O's of the program. Right. Unless, of course, your motivation is the X's and O's. Right. And that's where learning how to talk to different types of people and communication styles comes into play. Right. And you're right. I think it's a big missing piece with a lot of trainers these days is they know textbooks, which you should know, and they know the X's and O's, but they lack those quote unquote soft skills, which I don't think are as soft as they sound. They're actually a big piece of the pie, if you will. Now I'm hungry. And they probably are like 20% of the work that get you 80% of the results.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's funny you say soft skills, because that was something, now bringing up philosophy, like everyone was like, what are you going to do with that? And it was like, philosophy taught me how to think versus what to think. And in business had gotten me through so many hard times. And then I became almost an expert in human psychology just by serving the public for 6 years. Like, the more people you work with, the better you get to understand humans, and the better you get to understand what they actually need, which makes you better at your job over and over again. So if you try to avoid that, or you think it's not important, like, correct, you're going to lose in the end, and you're not going to be able to help as many people.
Yeah. And plus, like, if I can communicate in a style that best suits the client in front of me, I'm going to get more out from them from a fitness standpoint, and we're going to see better progression if they feel more comfortable in the environment.
I love that. So what you do is a little bit different. So it's not like, I mean, you do go to some people's houses and train them one-on-one, but you have more of an online model that probably did stem from the pandemic. A lot of people kind of understand it a little bit, but I think as the landscape for health and wellness changes and people become busier, or since COVID, they've built their own in-home gyms and stuff. Maybe they're thinking like, oh, I'm okay on my own. Like, I don't really need someone to come train me. But what is it that you offer that makes it better for those people who are in those types of situations, or even going to a local gym and they don't have a personal trainer there? Like, what do you do? What service do you provide that helps them just take their fitness to the next level?
So on their end, they use an app and it's training with me. They kind of bring me to the gym if the gym's in their home or if they work out at a gym on their own, and I build a custom program for them. So, it takes the guesswork out. A lot of people go to the gym and they just kind of do some curls, do some flies.
That's me.
Hit the treadmill and they go home, which is better than nothing. But You're going to see a lot more progress if you actually have a custom plan built for you and it's attainable for you. So you go to the gym, you open the app, and boom, there's me working out, demonstrating the exercises, how many reps, how many sets, and then you complete them. I see when you do it. You can leave me notes. We can message. It's really like I can be as supportive as you want me to be, and it's very much on your terms. So it's a lower price point than my in-home training, so it's a little bit more affordable, and it's a great way to stay accountable because you have a coach, but it's also a great way to work out the right way and progress towards goals that you want without kind of just winging it.
Right. What percentage of people do you think are winging it out there?
Oh, a lot. Or you get, a lot of people are winging it, but there's also a lot of people who will be like, oh, I was at the gym for 3 hours today. I'm like, cool, who'd you run into? Like, right. There's no way you're working out for 3 hours. If you're doing something, I would never knock anyone for showing up to the gym, right? But there's just so much low-hanging fruit out there if you can do a couple simple things well and then build from there and progress from there. It's like amazing when you follow a program and actually stay consistent with it. The results are like profound compared to just like doing the same thing but going to the gym for a year.
And I think if people haven't experienced that before, then they don't know. So someone like me, right? Like I've never worked out long enough or on a program, specifically designed for me to see the before and after. So yeah, then you get like unmotivated with anything. It's like you start a business and you don't get a lot of sales. You're like, oh, I stink at this. And like, I don't want to do it anymore. But I think that's the perk of working with somebody like you is that you get those short-term wins like a little bit faster and it inspires you to keep going.
Exactly. And I just made an Instagram post about this. Just the fact that you have someone on your team, like people have accountants to manage their books. They have financial advisors to manage their money, dentists to watch their teeth. It's like some of us, I've been doing it a while. It's like, why not have someone overlook your fitness plan in a yearly perspective too?
You're making me feel motivated because I've been dropping the ball on this, like new year, new me, and it's something I know I need to do. But yeah, it's just like, it's really easy to like not make it a priority for most people. And I'm like into health and wellness. Like I know how important it is to like build muscle for longevity. I understand like the biology of what happens when your muscles like aren't being used properly. I even know better and I still don't do it. And so that I think comes into like, for me, at least a fear of like, I'm not great at using the equipment. I don't really know what to do.
Sure.
And like people like me, like I need to be yelled at. So I might be calling you actually after this to motivate maybe. But yeah, you have to feel comfortable with the person that you're working out with, right? Yep. I think a lot of people struggle with that too. They're like, oh, like if they feel insecure about what they look like right now, or just like if they're like for me, it's more my ability level, and like I don't want to look like a dumbass. So you just have to like get over it and like just call somebody and ask for help, because you're going to be so much happier on the other side of it once you do it.
For sure. So, and I do like hybrid stuff as well, where you might want to do a couple in-person sessions in your home.
I dig that.
Before you progress towards the online training.
Is that enough space for us to do a workout one day?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I have some dumbbells here.
I brought some actually.
Did you really?
Are we not working out after this?
We could. We could go on the roof.
I'm ready to go.
We had an episode with Jason from Martial Arts Institute of America, and he does Paladin, so it's like strength training with like swords and like knight stuff, hammers. And we went on the roof and we did some stuff. And it was pretty wild.
We're not going on the roof after this.
Are you afraid of heights?
Yeah. It's just cold out.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Okay,
yeah, there's so many modalities in the fitness space. And that's also something I try to help people with is like clear the clutter, the chaos, or the confusion, if you will. Like there's 1,001 ways to work out and little boutiques popping up like
everywhere.
Everything. It's like people get overwhelmed, and technology is great. I use it, but I'm also big on just like learning how to squat, learning how to hip hinge. Like, can you move unilaterally? Where can we start? That's a good point for you that's able to progress. And you might just need a pair of dumbbells for 3 months before you use anything else, you know?
Right.
And I think people get overwhelmed on social media with all these, there's so much going on. It's like, let's keep it simple. Let's work with you, with what you got, with your body, and let's see where we are after 3 months.
Right.
And that just communicating that to someone is a superpower, like setting expectations, like don't quit drinking, quit smoking, hire me 5 days a week and rub CBD all over your body on Monday because you'll fail by Wednesday. You know, it's like, let's just pick 3 solid workouts that I know you can do and let's complete that consistently before we move on.
Do you have like a cool transformation story or somebody that you worked with or like yourself?
Well, currently I'm working with a couple in Westfield and they've both lost a significant amount of weight and they're looking really good.
Nice.
But, yeah, I mean, there's some good transformation stories. I'm not like a trainer is known for like, oh, you're going to lose a ton of weight working with this guy. It's, feeling good when you work out, working out the right way. So you could call it performance or functional training, which is overused in this industry, but
that's what it is.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. And, you know, building strength, getting lean, and then making it sustainable. So you're doing this for a long time, not just like a quick flash in the pan boot camp for 30 days and then you drop off for 90 days before you pick back up again.
Because you're not building the habit, right? Even from a psychological standpoint, the more, what is it, 21 days to build a habit around there?
Something like that. 30. What did you read? Which paper did you read?
Right. Well, for as long as it takes your brain to get it, right? But I feel like the minimum is 21 days for a lot of things because it just doesn't always click depending on your brain. And obviously, the more motivation you have, you know, that always helps. But sometimes the motivation isn't there, and that's where discipline comes in, right? And just kind of, again, if you can't hold yourself accountable, it is worth paying somebody 1,000% to hold you accountable. So you said something back in the beginning about, you know, how working out helps like your mental health a little bit. And I think obviously this is something everybody talks about. And we know it. We understand, I think, in a broad sense, how working out is better for us just as a human evolutionary, you know, aspect of life. It's like we used our bodies constantly. Now we're also sedentary. So what are some of the biggest things that you see improvement in with people in their health, their mental health, after working out with you for a little while?
I think it's anxiety is down more. There's definitely research on that, but I don't know if it's tied into, I feel better about myself or whatever. I just released endorphins. To me, it comes down to you're proving to yourself, you're building that self-efficacy, that proof that you're doing something for yourself and showing up for yourself. And I think that's a massive confidence builder because, all right, you started out with something you value to look better, to feel better, to be a better husband, better father, better whatever. And you're proving to yourself that you could do that. So over time, you build this self-efficacy, this confidence. And I think it does stem into other areas of your life that like I was talking earlier. It's, for me at least, and for people I work with, it's a big momentum builder. Like when I work out, especially on those days where you're like, I know I have a workout scheduled for today and I'm just going through the motions to show up. It's night and day walking out of there. And that's why I do it, because I know how I feel when I don't do that. And that's why I keep doing it, because I don't like that feeling of complacency of that I knew I had a workout, but I skipped it, that type of thing. Like whenever I do work out, it's like, okay, what's next on my day? And it's an instant better mood.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I didn't work. I was telling you, I didn't work out for a really long time because I wasn't feeling so well. And once I started again, it's like, you know, again, I have days where I skip all the time, but yeah, there's always that high, that little, you know, endorphin high where you feel good. And you're like, I could do anything now. I could take over the world. Yeah. My business is going to be so much better. Especially
it's not so much like a running high every time you work out.
Right.
It's more about just like checking that box for me. And it's like, okay, like I did that today.
Right.
That was on my to-do list and it's done and I feel good.
Right. I definitely feel like more physiological thing. I guess it's just blood flow, right?
Yeah,
so to my body, to muscles, like your lymphatic system is draining, you know, your brain's working better. Like there's just so much benefit to exercise. And it's just like not taught to us as kids, right? It's not like we have gym class when we're growing up, but the importance of why like you must do it and just have it be a natural part of our life. Like it's something, it's always seems so forced, right? For us growing up and oh, you have to go to the gym. And it's like, yeah, functional movement, like doing things that you enjoy. Even me running around the restaurant for 6 years, like that. I didn't work out because I was running around there, but I probably did like
I don't know, 10 to 12,000 steps a day. I was always bending and like, picking up, 40-pound bags of stuff. And so,
that's where the strength training helps with that stuff. It just like the strength training helps you meet the demands in your life, whether you're an athlete or a restaurant owner or, you're picking up a kid, twisting and putting them into a crib. Like literally it helps with all those things.
That's really funny because I literally hurt my back yesterday picking up my friend's kid. And I was like, oh my, and I literally felt my back. I'm like, wow, like I just feel weak here.
Yeah.
And there was a story, Kevin Hart was in a car accident a couple of years back, and he always talks about how he literally broke like all these different things. And the doctor said, if you weren't as strong as you were, like you would have been paralyzed.
There you go.
So even from a preventative standpoint, as we get older, how old are you?
34.
Here, baby.
Is that a trick question?
Well, I'm 37, and they always say, at least for women, like your old lady body is made in your 30s. So like the stronger you are, the easier it is to prevent all sorts of stuff when you age. So it's like now's the time. Like it's not too late for anybody. Any age can keep working out. But if you're like in your late 20s, 30s, early 40s,
exactly,
like now's the time.
Yeah, exactly. And like luckily the industry is changing where there's more awareness around smart training. But with that, there's just a big spectrum of just like what I was talking about before. There's so many modalities and ways to work out. Mm-hmm. So it's tough sometimes to sift through the clutter, but working out nowadays, compared to when we were growing up, is encouraged for a lot of people. And then it's the variables. Is it like too much working out? And I like that kind of stuff where I can help people with, how many stressors are in your life outside of working out? Like, do we need to change the intensity this week or the volume? And then there's so many like, nuanced things that go into the actual workout program.
Cool. Do you help people with their nutrition as well? Is that
I'm happy to like kind of do a lot of behavior change stuff, especially hitting a protein goal for the day. Talking about habits. I don't prescribe diets for people. I'm not a nutritionist, but it's certainly something we talk about often.
Cool. Yeah.
And especially with like online stuff, with online trainers, I can put anything in the app. Like if we have a consultation, we pick a couple things I want to work on that month, I'll hit 150 grams of protein today. And they can upload exactly how they do that. Nice. Or, get 8,000 steps in today, or do the Peloton today,
Right.
So I can customize it, individualize based off the person's lifestyle.
Cool. Right. So if somebody wants to work with you, they go to your website. Is there a contact form they fill out? Kind of walk me through the process.
Yeah, MurrayManiaFitness.com, or if you go to my Instagram, Murray Mania Fitness, there's a link there. And 5 questions, workout history, injury history, goals. And then we set up a phone call. And then from there, you get my welcome package and we get you started ASAP.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. Okay. Well, that's where you find the man, the myth, the legend, Steve Murray. Anything else you want the people to know? What's your favorite color?
Right now, it depends. But
changes.
I do like black right now, and that's not
cool. I feel like that's just because it's being mirrored to you constantly.
It's not relative to how I feel inside. I just think it's cool. Green, because my son's favorite color is green.
Cute.
But yeah, no.
That's it.
That's it. That's a wrap. Yeah.
No, I do have one more question for you.
Okay.
What are some of your places in Westfield to visit? To let them know.
Bovella's. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes. Bovella's.
The new bakery I went to recently, right on Elm.
Kirschenbaum?
Yeah, that's very good as well. So I'd say those are my top 2 that I'd pop in on like an afternoon for a coffee and pastry.
A trainer is eating all the sweets, guys.
Yeah, don't tell them. Yeah. You got to indulge. You got it. You can't deprive yourself completely.
I'm a fan of it, obviously. What's his name? Alex Ramosi always talks about that. He's like massive, and he's like, I never skip dessert.
Never skip dessert.
Because he just does the math for him, and it works out well. You shouldn't have to deprive yourself to be able to,
right.
enjoy
100%.
Life. And
you got to pick your battles. Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather eat like a really good gluten-free donut than like, I don't know, like a sugary coffee or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right, you heard it here first. Eat all the pastries you want
all
from
the time.
Bob and Bovella's, as long as you're working out with Steve Murray. Steve, thank you so much. This was awesome.
Thanks,
it was great
Amanda.
getting to know you, and we'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye, guys.